countdown, right? It's live. So we never have a countdown when you're the producer.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Simply Together show. I'm so glad it's got a 0 at the top there because that means that nobody's watching. So we've gone live and there's no countdown, and I need to get Shelly to show me how to do that countdown because I don't know. It's just myself and Nikkei today. So
hi, everybody.
If we're here on screen, then you're lucky. If we disappear, don't be surprised. And if we don't come back, that's because I don't know how to do that. Okay? The weather today. I said it last week. Nikkei told me off. I said it last week. We're in September. Look, I've even got my light on in my office already because it's so flipping dark and it's a bit chilly and it's a bit rainy and it is the 10th of September. So are we surprised? No, not really. No, not really.
No, the weather has kind of gone. I think those 2 lockdowns kind of spoilt us for weather. And I think it kind of set our expectations very high. So never mind. We live in the Northern Hemisphere. Why are we surprised?
It's fine. It is what it is. And how long are we going to say? How long are we going to continue to say that lockdown weather spoiled us? When do we stop saying that?
Well, it's funny actually, because to be honest, I recall I was working in Biggleswade. So that must have been, I started here in 2018. So that must have been the summer of 2017. And it was baking. When I say baking, I'm somebody, I will tell you that it can be scorching. I do not care. I will still cook my fufu and eat it. I'll be happy. But it was baking. And I remember that you couldn't go from here to there. There wasn't, if you were carrying a glass of cold water, it will be warm. And I remember I bought a thermos flask in Tesco to take ice to work because our water cooler was not working and we were not on the package, which meant that the engineer would come and fix it. And when she said, do you want to organize that? All I could say, that's above my pay grade. And so that was really, really, really hot then. But there's something about the weather in lockdown that kind of hit differently because it wasn't just hot. The skies were clear.
Yeah.
The rivers were clear.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's almost a kind of a reminder that at some point this earth could reset back.
Yeah.
Because how long were we in lockdown before we noticed that? Lockdown started in March and you're going out for your walks in April when it was quite warm already. And those little streams that were usually full of green slime and stuff, they were really clear. You could see the tadpoles and everything.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Because actually, you know, at that point in time, there were very few cars on the road. There were no planes in the sky. You know, all of those things, all of that noise and everything that we're used to, no trains or very few trains, all of those things that we are used to listening to every day were not happening. So we had the sun, the water was clear, we could hear the birds, you know, much more than we can hear now, and it had a whole different feel to it. But yes, okay. So we were supposed to have the lovely Kerry on the show today to talk about the Strictly Caribbean Dance Competition 2024, which is on Sunday, but unfortunately she can't come on. So have you got your tickets, people? Strictly Caribbean Dance Competition 2024. That is happening on Sunday at the Lewsey Learning Centre. Doors open at 5. Tickets are £10 or £12 on the door. And you can also give Kerry a ring on 07534 040 094. See, that's how old I am. Is it 07534 040 094? I still say oh. I'm so old, really I am.
Are you old? I think
yeah.
that's always been a thing. I think that's always been a thing.
Is it a
some
British
people
thing?
say zero and some people say oh.
Oh,
I think
I still say oh.
yeah.
Oh.
I don't. Yeah, that's quite interesting because I say zero, but I think I've always said zero. So that's
Have
why
you?
I'm saying I'm not saying that it's an age thing. I just think it's a thing when, like tomatoes.
Yes, yes. Anyway, 0 or O, whichever way you want to say. It's on Sunday. We've got a couple of our Simply D's people that are actually going to be in that competition.
Really? I missed that one. Who's that?
Don't you know?
No.
Clive.
Oh yes, Clive.
Clive's in it. Clive is going to be in it.
God.
And Sharon Mercury is going to be in it as well. Yes, Clive is going to be in it. And I've got a feeling that Peter is in it as well.
Wow.
I think. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. It is just going to be a giggle. Get yourself down there. You can pay on the door, £12 on the door. But if you want a £10 ticket first, then you need to call Kerry. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be, it's something that's happening within Luton that people can join up and do.
Yeah.
It's like Strictly. You don't have to be the best dancer. But if you've got some moves, then come and show us you've got some moves.
I think I might come along. We'll see how it goes.
Are you coming? Do you want me to pick you up?
Oh, I can't commit right now because I'm out Friday and Saturday. I'll message you. Anyhow.
Okay. But we're going to promote that again at the end of the show. Rest in peace for James Earl Jones.
I know.
What a thing.
Put a sock in it, Joffy. From coming to America, I love it. I love James Earl Jones. There's that voice.
It's the voice, isn't it? Yeah. And I think and I only heard this obviously after he'd passed, because that's when stuff comes out. But he had a stutter for so many years and didn't speak. He didn't speak until the teacher then realized this, knew that he wrote poetry, and then they then started doing that with him. How is that? That is just absolutely fantastic that you go from having this stutter, and I know that is so difficult for many people.
Yeah.
To then be the voice of Darth Vader or Mustafa. How do you even go from that to that? How do you do that?
I don't know, especially when you consider the timing of it, because now, I think we take a lot of things for granted today, because we all think we know so many different things about so many different conditions, thanks to the internet and Google and professionals putting information out there. But in my head, I'm looking at him thinking, so he went through that when he was in school, when there was very little known about things like that. And number two, he was Black and male in a country that was, still is really heavily divided on those grounds. So it's amazing. And obviously, I kind of missed what his economic background was, but
it wasn't brilliant. It wasn't brilliant. At the age of, I think I want to say it's about 6, he was then brought up by his grandparents. Dad had left when he was born, I think. That very similar to the stories that you hear of that time anyway. Well, hear of that time. Hear it now as well, but ultimately of that time. It's a very similar situation. Born in 1931. It says he didn't get to know his dad till the 50s, so that's nearly 20 years. So he's an adult at that point. So from 5 he was raised by his maternal grandparents, And that's where he found, because they went from Michigan and they moved from Mississippi to in the Great Migration. Okay, and then went to Michigan. So that's obviously when a lot of people were moving and leaving Mississippi. But yeah, so they then brought him up, and he credits that his English teacher, Donald Crouch, for getting him to speak, actually, to open up, to be able to talk, to be able to, just actually use his words via his poetry.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
We've got a number of poets within the Simply D's group.
Thanks to Simply D's, I found my love of poetry again.
See?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it hits differently when you know the people.
Yeah. I've never written poetry until I was in this group and listened to V. I listened to Justina, and Quentin was a big influence. I think that's the word you would use, because he did a couple of workshops that I then went to. And then I don't write a lot of poetry. It's not, I'm not Tishy. I haven't got books to be putting out there.
Tishy's exceptional. And do you know what made me think it sounds really random, right? But I was listening to a podcast yesterday. It's called Table Manners. And it had Nadia Hussein on it. Hussein, the lady, the Luton woman who won British Bake Off. This woman has a book out every 6 months, nearly.
Yeah.
And there's not just the cookery books. Obviously, she writes other books. And I was listening to her, I was thought to myself, she must be related to Tisha or something. That is literally what came in my head there. Because I just thought there are some people like that. And obviously, listening to her life story was actually really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that's, obviously there are and has been poets around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But I think until sometimes when you then know somebody or you listen to something, that's when it piques your own interest.
Yeah.
That's when you then are able to put pen to paper as such. For anybody who's listening and doesn't know Tishy is Dee Bailey's niece. And she writes poetry, and she has got enough to publish at least 3 or 4 books, I think.
Yeah. I suppose it depends on I suppose nowadays you would have to put it in 3 or 4 books, because people don't have time for compendiums anymore.
No. Yeah. Okay, so we're, God rest his soul, lovely, brilliant actor, been around for many, many, many years, and so many things that everybody will then remember. Everyone will remember something slightly different. Star Wars is not my thing, so don't shoot me, please, people.
I don't mind. I like the original Star Wars, the first 3.
Yeah, but they're not the first 3, though, are they?
No, but they're the first 3 in a linear form, in the sense that was when they were made, right? We had Star Wars, we had Empire Strikes Back, and I can't remember what the third one was. And I really liked it. When they started doing all those other ones there, and then I just thought, now this is getting too geeky for me now. And that was it. But yes, I did like that.
So there's a lot of Yeah. I watched those first 3 because everybody did.
But you see what Steven Spielberg did there? He was a clever man. He is a clever man, because obviously Star Wars was labeled Episode 4, so he already knew.
See, I didn't even know that. And I don't know yeah, and I know lots of people that absolutely love it. They absolutely love it. I don't quite get it.
No,
And when you
I like those three. I like those three. All the other ones, I just couldn't get on with it. But one thing I will say that was interesting, and I don't know if I've got the sequence of events. So, like Cecile says, please don't come for us. We're just two ladies who are having a chat with you this lunchtime. I think it was after the third one was made. That's when, was it Ronald Reagan? One of the basically they ended up trying to take the American government to court, because I think they wanted to use something to do. I don't know if it was a naming rights or whatever. And I just was like, who takes the government to court? Who takes the government to court?
They do.
So
They do.
So
see,
anyway.
they do. But yes, I mean, you know his voice, you know it when he's there in that, you just know, you can hear that voice, you
there
know.
are voices that will be immortalized. James Earl Jones is one of them. Bill Clinton is another one for me, and Barack Obama. And
Bill Clinton.
There's something about, probably not so much now, but when he was president, honestly, he would come on the radio and I'd be like, who's that? I forget. It's difficult because we know what he looks like and we know what he's done. But obviously, I wasn't looking at those things then. I'm talking about people who can just command an audience. So we're not talking about whether we admire them or not, although I do admire James Earl Jones and Barack Obama.
Good. Okay, so maybe I need to watch, in homage to him, maybe I'll watch them, all of them, maybe.
Well, you can watch other things. You can watch The Lion King. You can watch Coming to America. I love him in Coming to America, even though it's such a corny depiction of Africa and stuff like that. It's just, he just suited that role because he was really like Ringo and go
There's
and
lots.
sow your royal oats.
If there's anybody out there who has not watched Coming to America, you need to watch it. You need to watch it, and just watch it for what it is, not what you think it should be, just what it is, and go with it. Just go with it. Go with the jokes and just go with it, because it's very corny. It is very corny, but it's a really good film. Maybe I'll do that rather than the whole Star Wars lot, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot, and I could just I'm not saying anymore because all the haters are going to come out. Those Star Wars, what, I don't even what, have they got a name? Star Wardians or something like that?
You've got them, but because you've got those who the stormtroopers, aren't there? The Jedi's and
yeah, we'll leave that one. We'll leave that one where that is. So just before coming on the show, because the lovely Kerry isn't able to join us today, we were talking about what we're going to talk about. Okay. And Nikkei then said something about the video that the Princess of Wales has, or the royal family or whoever has released today.
Kensington Palace,
Or Kensington Palace has then released with regard to her progress with her cancer, with the treatment, etc., etc. And I watched it this morning and thought, oh, bless her. Oh, look at them. I don't think that's what Nikkei saw. I think she saw it in a very different way to how I saw it.
So look, right, let's get it twisted, right? As I was saying, whether you're a princess or a pauper, chemo is no joke. Cancer is not a joke, and quite clearly it doesn't discriminate. That's, illness does not discriminate. How you cope with it, however, can be. That is really where I was coming from. So there are a couple of things. I didn't watch the whole video. I just saw highlights of it, and I did think it did look like an advert for Centre Parks. But that's just me. That's probably just me being catty, to be honest. But the other thing is, I just thought it was just an expression of privilege, because, like I said, you don't wish cancer on anybody, and everybody needs to use all the means and resources at their fingertips to beat it and show it
Yep.
who's boss. Hands up. I have no qualms about that. They will have the best doctors and the stuff like that. But I still think it's in this time that we're living, for them to come out with a video like that and to make statements saying how you stand in the trenches with that bit I heard on the news, because, like I said, I didn't watch the whole video. I couldn't be bothered there. And I just thought, there are people who have to continue going to work, whose employers do not afford them anything more than their statutory rights. I don't know, there's just something that just reeks of how we define entitlement and privilege these days that just came out to me, and I just did not like it, and it just kind of made me feel well, how did it just made me feel as if that's it, I'm done with them.
Oh
And that's not
God!
what I want. No, because it's not nice. Look, even as a person, as somebody, right? Look, the fingers are not equal. Everybody has a different amount of privilege to another person, but you don't rub it in their faces, right? When she was going through the thick of it and she was hiding, and they were coming out with all the AI stuff, it suited her to do that, as if people are stupid and mean. Even the fact that people wished her well, were winning her on, and I don't know, to me, this is just like, I don't want to say smack in the face, because, like Shelley said when we talked about this at the beginning, I think, if I remember correctly, Shelley's opinion was that nobody has to tell anybody anything.
Yeah.
So if you go down that road, that's fair enough. But you can't swing both ways.
Or can you? Because that's what people want to hear. They want to. So there's lots of people out there. There are lots of people who are royalists, or I don't say I'm not a royalist, but I love all of that, and I love history. So it's more around. It's not necessarily them as individual people, although there are one or two that I could say things about that I'm not going to. But I like history. I like all of that stuff. So when she was going through it, everybody wanted to know. They wanted to know. And because Charles had come out, King Charles had come out and said what was going on with him, I think people presumed she should do the same thing. And I think, like you said about Shelley's stance, as in, you don't have to tell anybody anything. So has she now come out and told everybody that things are okay because they've got in there and done that before people start saying what's going on? We need to know. Have they come out with that first?
Well, I suppose it depends on where you look at it, because the problem with this whole thing about today's royal family that we're living with now, it's narrative. So that's why I would just say that if she's had cancer and she has reported that she's finished chemotherapy. Now, I think we and I both know that finishing chemotherapy doesn't mean she's beating the cancer right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would want her to beat it, because she's young, she's got 3 young children, she's got a lot to live for, etc. So all of that goes without saying. What I'm really talking about, I suppose, is the fact, it's just my view of how I see the royal family, and I do look at them completely differently now. Whereas before, I was like you, I loved the history, the interest of it. But I think now that's I look at a lot of things in history quite differently as well. I'm just thinking, no, there needs to be some acknowledgement of certain things before I would ever have time for the idea of a royal family. But there they are. They live by the grace of God and taxpayers' money. And as much as we don't have to tell our employers certain things, we still have to tell them certain things to reap certain benefits. Why are they different?
Oh, okay, so from that viewpoint, because they are living on taxpayers' money, we are
That
their
they don't
employees.
need.
In
Yeah.
theory, well, the most probably don't need it, but in theory, we are then their employers, so they do need to keep us informed as to what is going on.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to tell the ins and outs. You know, I'm not asking you to tell me, oh, you know, they stuck a needle up here, there, and everywhere. You can do a very bland, honest press release every now and again. It doesn't cost you anything instead of coming out with, and I'm sorry, nobody can tell me that those videos that they released before were not AI, because this is Catherine, who has an impeccable dress sense that has only gotten better over the years. She will not be coming out wearing the same jumper from 2000 and whenever, again and again and again, to make tight-lipped videos.
I love it. Listen to you. I love it.
No, sorry.
So, whoever's watching or whoever's listening, say hello. Let us know you're there. And what's your thoughts then? Does that video look like a video advertising Centre Parks?
Okay, that's maybe.
I just thought it looked really lovely, and that, you know, the 5 of them are there. They're out in the fields, and you know, they're enjoying nature, etc., etc. I need to go and watch it again now with a different a different view, and see if I see the same thing that you see.
I'm very cynical about the things that
I know.
we put out here, especially when it's coming from this side of the pond, so to speak. I just do not believe it. I think it's all done with a particular purpose in mind, and to me, it just didn't make sense. But like I said, I'm happy. I'm happy that she's gone to that stage that she no longer needs chemo, and I'm good for her. I mean, she was. I suppose it's because of people might probably say, "Oh, you're just jealous because you have to work for a living." But you know, when you consider the nature of their work, of what they do, right? Let's be honest. The only reason why it is onerous is because it interferes with the fact that they could otherwise just sit at home all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know, she loves tennis. She was very happy to go and watch the tennis in the blistering heat. You know, but yet to go and support her charities that she's patron of, she can't do that. When all she has to do is be driven somewhere and turn up. That's all. That is all I see. I could be wrong. I don't live that life. Maybe they do some other things behind, but let's be honest, they don't. They literally they're just the mascots. That is how I see them, and I just think that video, just to me, is like it's like, look at you, look at me.
Okay, so here's a question then. Do you think the general public would have been happy to just have a press release and no video, no nothing, just a written press release?
A press release. I think there would have been. I don't know that the general public are not happy with that video, but I personally would have preferred a proper press release with her and William or Louis or whatever, if they want to do something like that, but just a release.
Okay.
Not pre-recorded. I've come on here. Thank you to the doctors. Thank you to this. Thank you to God or whatever. There was none of that, by the way. So there, and yes, I'm recovering, and I'm looking to coming back to duty. I mean, she's got one thing apparently, and this one I heard on the news. I don't know. Oh yeah, because I've been listening to the radio, so you can't kind of switch off the news when you're listening to the radio surreptitiously at work.
So she's only got 1 or 2 things in her diary because they don't want to put them in, and for it to say yes, she's definitely going to go when actually she may not be able to go. That's what they said.
Yeah, you see, I suppose that's the other thing. I think it's the way they've been presented. But one thing I will say, I'm convinced that it has happened. I don't know, but I do believe that they have changed their PR team at Kensington Palace, because now it's much more positive and upbeat, as much as I say all those things about it. But at least it's aesthetically more pleasing and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts. Did you think the video was over the top and just looked like they're selling a holiday? Did you?
That's definitely what I think. I just don't
did you like me think, oh, that looks so lovely? You know, did you think that, or what did you think? And do you think they sit there and do nothing, or do you think that their things are? Do you think we're their bosses because they're being paid by our money? Just let us know what your thoughts are. I mean, you know, like you said, so pleased that she has come through the chemotherapy, because the chemotherapy alone for people who've had it is an absolute, it's the hardest thing.
It can be hard,
yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard.
And if the chemo itself is not hard, it's the side effects. It's always one or the other.
Exactly. So it's great that she's come through that. It's also great that they've actually recognized that actually she's not necessarily cancer free. She's on her way to that. You know, she's still in recovery. And that is really good because, like you said, you know, she's young and she's got 3 young children. And again, as you said, Nike, it doesn't discriminate against anybody.
No,
there's nobody in this world that is safe from having that diagnosis. You know, it is 1 in 2 now, which is the most, I find that really hard because I remember when it was 1 in 5 and then it's got 1 in 3 and now it's 1 in 2, you know, so it's a really, really, really difficult thing to then have. But do you need to do a video like you're booking a holiday?
I think so. That is the other thing that I would say is that you know, I spend a lot of time down the rabbit holes, and when those influencers start doing that type of stuff, they get roasted.
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing, and you just think, well, those are influencers, those are Joe public who don't have the benefit of PR teams and stuff like that. And so I find it very interesting that these guys would behave in that manner. I just find it really strange. Do
you know what? I don't think they could do right from doing wrong. It doesn't matter who has you know, talked to them and said, do it this way, because there's always going to be somebody who says, no, they shouldn't have done it way. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. But they have done it the way
because the other thing, Cecile, as I'm talking to you now, I was thinking, they've made that video. I don't know. They've made the video, which is, okay, let's just say the video is really nice and it's going and stuff like that. And then you're telling me, oh, but she's not fit enough to work. It's just all very contrary.
Oh, contrary. I haven't heard that word for a long time. Contrary. Yes.
Showing my age.
You know
but it is very contrary. And I think that's the problem. It's one of those things where, like you said, they probably can't do wrong for doing right. But it's not even that, it's just that there's something, it just roused something in my spirit. And I just think it is that thing, it's like flaunting. And it might not be intentional, but then, like I said, they have the benefits of PR teams who went to university and studied these things to know. So yeah.
So the word for today is contrary. See how you can fit that into your day somehow. Are you going to call somebody contrary?
I'm got a Mary. Do you know somebody called Mary? You can say Mary, quite contrary. How did you grow?
I think at some point as a child I was called contrary. I'm sure I was. I think my mother said it. I don't know, but I just remember. Yes, contrary. I like that word. So before we finish, just once more, just to remind you all, Strictly Caribbean Dance Competition 2024. It's on Sunday. It is Sunday the 15th of September. Can you believe we're the 15th? We're in September already.
Crazy,
And we're
isn't it?
working our way to the middle of September already. It's at the Lewsey Learning Centre. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Tickets are £10 or £12 on the door. So give Kerry a call on 07534 040 094. I just don't like the 0. I really don't. Give Kerry a ring, 07534 040 094.
It's interesting that you say that, because now in my head I'm thinking I would probably be the one that would go 07534 040 094.
Whereas quite often I will start with the O and then think, oh, I better say 0 because people don't know what you're talking about. And then I would then do the zeros. Strictly Caribbean dance competition. Come on, Luton. There's dancers out there. There are people out there who think they can dance. And there are people who say that they can't dance, and they most probably can. So there's many different people out there. Come and give it a go. Come and give it a go. Show us what you can do. And I'm sure there's a soca bit. There's a soca dance. There is a dance hall one, and there's another one. Does anybody remember what the other one is? Because there's 3.
Dance. Oh, what was it? Dance hall. I remember dance hall.
Dance hall, soca, and there was something else. Anyway, Kerry, I'm sure Kerry will fill you all in and let everybody know. But yes, you need to come down. It's going to be fun, and that's the whole point. You know, we're trying to get more things happening in Luton. So this is something that is happening, and it's happening on Sunday. So have your dinner and then come down and have some fun. So, Nico, you can get back to work.
I know. Gosh, anyway, I've still got a few minutes.
You have got a few minutes today. You have got a few minutes. I've got work soon, and so have you. Maybe do a little bit of practicing of the dancing. Do you want to be in the competition?
No. If I come there, I'm only coming to watch and cheer people on.
Yes.
So,
yes. Okay.
But it does sound like it will be fun. Yeah.
I think it will be fun. It will be fun. So that's on Sunday. We will be back next week, Tuesday, same time. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you're watching it on catch up, let us know. And we will see you next week.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.